Lake Sarez in Tajikistan is one of the most dangerous natural features in Central Asia. The lake is considered potentially hazardous due to the possibility of the Usoi Dam failing in the event of a major earthquake or landslide. A potential breach of the lake could lead to catastrophic flooding downstream along the Bartang, Panj, and Amu Darya rivers, possibly reaching as far as the Aral Sea, destroying everything in its path. Reducing the water level and subsequently completely eliminating the potential threat of Lake Sarez is entirely feasible. Everything looks quite prosaic. In the view of the author of this video, there are a couple of conceptual solutions to the problem at hand. Several proposals exist. Let's consider the most expensive and the most affordable among them. The first and most expensive option is the construction of a bypass channel around the Usoi Dam. In this specific case, constructing means excavating. The channel walls must not be steeper than the angle of natural repose. This will significantly increase the volume of excavated rock material. Part of this material, up to 30% or even half, will be used to reinforce the Usoi Dam beyond the boundaries of Lake Sarez. The remaining portion should be used to build horizontal platforms for temporary housing, solar panels, sports grounds, and other infrastructure. The altitude is approximately 3,263 meters above sea level. The height difference in the valley is about 567 meters. The depth, meaning the absolute elevation for the channel bottom, should correspond to 2,763 meters if it becomes necessary to leave a water depth of 67 meters at the bottom, say for fish farming. However, there is also the factor of additional landslide formation. The cause of landslides could be the seismic activity of the region. Lake Sarez is located in a zone of high tectonic activity. Earthquakes, including the powerful earthquake dated to 1911, which caused the formation of the Usoi landslide dam with a volume of 2 cubic kilometers, are the primary trigger for landslides and rockfalls. Additionally, Lake Sarez has steep and unstable slopes. The lake is situated in a deep mountain valley surrounded by slopes composed of fractured, easily erodible rock, shales, limestones, sandstones. Furthermore, there is significant slope saturation. Atmospheric precipitation and water filtration from the lake saturate the ground with moisture, reducing the strength of the rocks and provoking landslide instability. Under such conditions, a landslide can occur in the most unexpected place, in the most unexpected quantities, and with the most unexpected consequences. Therefore, drilling and blasting operations should commence in the most remote sections, with blast blocks not exceeding 15 to 20 boreholes. Primarily, as the blasting front advances, an additional supplementary protective dam, SPD, must be constructed outside the Usoi Dam. The dimensions of the supplementary dam must be calculated to exceed the height of the wave generated by the largest conceivable landslide and to remain stable even if all probable landslides that could slide into Lake Sarez simultaneously, i.e., the worst-case scenario, occur, raising its level. The bypass channel, as it is built and deepened, should ensure the lowering of Lake Sarez water level. So, that was the most expensive way to eliminate the potential threat of Lake Sarez. To be extremely brief, this method consists of 2 parts: constructing the bypass channel and building the supplementary protective dam, SPD. Constructing the bypass channel requires colossal financial investment. Moreover, it is necessary to deliver heavy mining equipment like drilling rigs, excavators, bulldozers, dump trucks, as well as consumables like fuel and lubricants, POL, and explosives to the site. However, building the supplementary protective dam, SPD, with all the conditions mentioned, is unavoidable in any case. Let's present the cheapest way to eliminate the potential threat of Lake Sarez. The first thing to do is build several stations of a cascade hydroelectric power plant, HPP. Its capacity must be sufficient to pump water to a height of at least 50 meters, moving at least double the volume of water entering Lake Sarez per unit of time. The cascade HPP needs to be built upstream from the lake where the Murghab River becomes the Bartang. Second, construct the SPD with all the conditions outlined in the first method. Additionally, induce controlled collapses in all potential landslide areas. The material for the SPD will need to be quarried from the upper horizons of nearby mountain peaks. To facilitate transporting the rock mass, use natural water catchments in the folds of the mountainous terrain as guiding chutes, loading it into dump trucks at the bottom and distributing it over the SPD structure. The second, more affordable method actually consists of 3 stages. First, construction of the supplementary protective dam, SPD. Second, induce controlled collapses in all potential landslide areas. Third, final stage. Relocate the rock mass that will form the SPD and already forms the Usoi Dam within the Sarez basin. To prevent the water continuously flowing into the lake from hindering the advancement of mining operations, it will be necessary to utilize the cascade HPP with connected electric pumps. Work proceeds in the northern part while water is pumped to the southern part, and vice versa. Work proceeds in the southern part while water is pumped to the northern part. Relocating the rock mass will need to be carried out using all available methods: pushing with bulldozers, transporting by dump trucks, and throwing with excavators. Ultimately, a new bottom for the vanished Lake Sarez should form. The soil, or rather the rock mass composing the Usoi Dam and the SPD, must be evenly distributed across the entire bottom of the Sarez basin. The surface slope should be set at 2 per mil, 0.2%, towards the lower relief. Water entering from the upstream Bartang River will filter through the body of the new bottom of the Sarez Gorge. If water begins to flow over the surface of the new bottom, it will become necessary to construct a new artificial river channel. Upon completion of the construction, the need for further increasing the number of cascade HPP stations will become evident. Eliminating the threat of Lake Sarez is not fantasy but an engineering challenge. The question is only about the approach and the readiness to act. The sooner work begins, the lower the risk for millions of people downstream. Eliminating the threat of Lake Sarez is not a question of if, but of when and how. As a result of such grand construction, new roads will be built, new optimal helicopter and drone flight routes will be established, and a large amount of light and heavy, standard and non-standard equipment will be mobilized and utilized. Personnel will gain extensive experience working in such conditions, enabling them to successfully solve other relevant tasks. And the very word Sarez will never again stand alongside words like danger, catastrophe, sleeping dragon, and the like. The name Sarez will cease to be associated with fear. It will become a symbol of humanity's victory over a natural threat. Sarez will stop being an object of anxiety and predicted disasters. It will become a symbol of engineering triumph and international cooperation.